Welcome to the Inspiration Station. I'm your host, Corey Baker. Thank you so much for being here with me. This is episode number 6 already. I can't believe we've been doing this for 6 weeks. And I really appreciate everybody who's been reaching out to me, whether it be through SoundCloud or if you're on, the iTunes. I do appreciate any of those reviews, or if you want to rate the podcast. Again, I'm doing this all on my own, so if this is to be a success and to keep going, just let me know. Let me know what's going on. Help me out, help share it with your friends and everything. I hate asking for help to promote things, because to me, just doing this is kind of the reward. But it does make it easier for me to keep going, if I know that if you guys are listening and you're enjoying this. And I have gotten some mail, and I wanted to talk about that today. I did get, I've gotten a couple messages from Revolta on SoundCloud. Seems like a really nice guy. But he was talking about the idea of getting taken over by your craft, whether it be positive or negative. And I think about this a lot because, in my job, what I do mostly is create music. I create music, put it out, and then I go play shows with that music, and that's kind of how I make my living. So the great thing about that is I get to do whatever I want to do to a certain extent, just as long as people are still listening to it. It gives me a lot of free time as well, and it gives me a lot of time to focus on creative stuff. Now, the only real problem with that is that it can take over it has taken over my life. It's taken over my life since I kind of started music, but in a bigger sense, it can take over your relationships. It can take over your family relationships. I mean, it can be really good and bad. That's the kind of double-edged sword of, following your passion. Because when you have these moments of writer's block, or these moments where you feel like you're not doing anything, it can be painful, really, really painful. And I know anybody out there who's listening to this who does creative things for a living and has had those dry spells of not getting anything done, or feeling like you don't get anything done, you feel like you want to kill yourself to a certain extent. I've definitely felt that way. And the tricky thing about that is that it's you doing it to yourself. It's when I feel like that, it's hard for me to recognize, but usually when I pop out of it, I'm just like, you know what? I have so many things to be happy for, so many things to be grateful for. There's no reason for me to just get upset because I haven't been creative for the last 3 days or something, And speaking of that, this kind of ties in with, because I was trying to figure out what we were going to talk about this week. And honestly, this whole past week has really just been, for me, I've kind of been taking some of the things that we kind of learned from daily rituals, and kind of trying to put those in my own life by, I've been working on getting up early. I think I've gotten up at between 7 and 8 a.m. pretty much every day for the last week or two, which is impressive for me because I'm usually not somebody who wakes up early. But, now I have some time off, so I'm able to kind of adjust my schedule, which I'm very, very grateful for. But this past weekend, my girlfriend and I watched the Keith Richards documentary. And Keith Richards, the guitar player for Rolling Stones, literally a living legend. Even if you don't like the Rolling Stones, he's done some amazing, amazing things in his career, and he's not even done. He's still going. But one of the quotes that he said in that movie that really kind of it resonated with me. And he said, you can't go around chasing the songs, chasing to grab up songs, to write songs. It's kind of more about being in the moment and then reacting to the situation, or taking a situation and then putting that, into a song. And I think this is especially hard for kind of at least my generation and the coming generations, the current generation of, people who now have access to the internet, of social media, who are starting to work in the workforce, whether that be creative work or you're working for, a business that you went to school for. I think it's tough because with the way we get our information nowadays, everything is moving constantly. Social media, all this stuff. And to be honest, a lot of it's junk, but stuff is constantly moving, and it gives us this kind of false sense of anxiety that we have to keep up and keep producing all this stuff. And then it's just about keeping up kind of with the pace of everything, as opposed to really making creative work. And not necessarily even creative, just something that means something to you. And that's kind of what I got from this documentary is like Keith Richards has been doing Keith Richards since, day one. And he's had some ups and downs, I'm sure. And I can't believe the guy's still alive, but his kind of outlook and his just where he sits and how you could tell just how he views the world is just totally different. And he's living the dream. He's still living the dream. And a lot of people that get to his age, I don't even know how old he is, but he's up there. A lot of people that get to that age get incredibly bitter about things changing, making excuses about why music isn't good anymore, which is all bullcrap. But he didn't do that. He hasn't done that. He's still making music, still recording, still playing gigs, and he's living a great life. And one of the other things that he said that really kind of made me laugh and also made me think at the same time, he said, you're not grown up until they bury you in the ground, which I love that saying because I think all of us, me right now, I'm 28 years old, so I'm what some people consider an adult, but me personally, I have a sense of just being a kid forever. That's kind of been my goal in life. And granted, music has kind of brought me to it, and I love doing music, and music is a passion of mine. But really, my main big goal has been to just live like I thought that I would live when I was a kid, thinking of what it would be like to be an adult. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of us kind of lose sense of that because you get to a certain age and you're like, okay, well, this is when I have to, grow up and get a regular job. And, well, I should probably get a car payment, because that's what people do. And, oh, well, I need to go get a mortgage. There's all this stuff that we, at least in what I've thought as I've grown up, there's been these things in my head that I thought that I had to do, that everybody had to do. But I don't mean to swear, but all that's bullshit, guys. All that is bullshit. You can go do you. Go do you. Go do you. Be what you want to be, If it doesn't work out at first, then keep going and keep trying to figure out what you want to do, But have a good time doing it. And don't let anybody else tell you how you're supposed to feel or when you're supposed to be happy. Like, oh, well, once you do this, then you'll be happy. You just need to get to that part. It's like, that's all bullshit, guys. It really is. It's all bullshit. You need to be happy first. You need to be happy with yourself and then do things that continue to make you happy, that challenge, maybe some of your weaknesses. Like I've said, this podcast itself is a great example of that because no one's asking me to do this podcast. And the whole idea of this podcast is a bit, it's a bit silly to start off with because what, Inspiration Station? Like what the crap is that? But that's what I'm saying. Like, I never knew that I was going to do this, but for some reason, I've felt drawn to sitting down here every week with you and just talking about some of these ideas and whether it's where inspiration comes from or even what the heck is inspiration even integral to getting things done? I'm interested in this stuff, and that's what I want. That's hopefully you get the same feeling out of that, out of something in your life that you're able to do, whether it's something that people are asking you to do or it's something you do on your own, like a hobby or something. Like I can't really describe like how doing this podcast makes me feel, but it makes me feel happy. It makes me feel better. It makes me feel like I'm opening myself up to you guys to a certain extent, which is scary at first, and I still get scared of it almost every week to a certain extent. Like there's this little itty bitty sliver of fear in me that's just like, oh God, what am I going to talk about this week? Like, what if they hate it? Blah, blah, blah. Like, there's always going to be that sort of self-doubt, but you can push through it. It's a ghost. Most self-doubt is a ghost. You gotta keep moving, guys. That's it. Keep moving. Keep challenging yourself. Keep questioning yourself. Keep questioning others. Don't let other people tell you how you're supposed to feel. I don't know. Did I go too hard? I don't know. I thought today was just going to be an easy episode. It is easy, but I just wanted to kind of talk about just the whole Keith Richards thing. It's crazy that he's as old as he is. He's still playing guitar, still ripping. You can tell he has a huge, huge heart. Seems like such a sweet, down-to-earth guy. And I love seeing that from older people. It's hard because, like, as much as I can talk about, oh, you know, you just be happy, blah, blah, like, as much, I'm only 28 years old, so, like, I haven't lived long enough to really tell you that any of this stuff that I'm talking about works out in the end, you know what I mean? So take it with a grain of salt. But to see Keith Richards just still ripping, man, like, it was beautiful. It's really, really beautiful. Really, really inspiring to me. Yeah, so for this week, that's it. This is it. Hopefully you don't get too tied up in, you know, the work that you do is still not you. Maybe that's what I'm trying to get at. The work that you do in your life is still not you. Even me doing music for a living, it's not me. I put a lot of my heart into my music, but, you know, your profession, whatever it is you do for a living, it's not you. You might put yourself into it, but you're so much more than that. You have so much power within you. You can do it. You can do whatever you want to do. You're not limited to just one thing. And, you know, there's always going to be people out there, especially with the internet nowadays. Kids, come on. There's so many people out there that are going to be negative and tell you that you suck. But I got news for you. People are going to tell you you suck regardless. I used to get so mad when people told me I suck. But it's good. People should tell you that you suck, because that means that you're doing something that is out of your comfort zone, as opposed to just kind of sitting back. Which, granted, the people that tell you that they suck, they're the ones that really suck, because they're telling people that they suck. And that's what they do for a living. Not that they do that for a living, but that they spend time during their day to tell people that they suck. Like, those are the people that really suck. And hopefully you're not one of those people. I don't think anybody who listens to this would go off and tell people they suck. You know, hopefully not, but who knows? All right, I'm Corey Baker. This is the Inspiration Station. For upcoming shows and stuff, you can go to killparis.com. That's, you know, what I do, music stuff. If you're in Colorado, I have a show at the Fox Theater in Boulder on November 7th. And then, what's the name of the venue in Inglewood, Colorado? I don't know, it's on the 14th of November. And then I have a tour coming up with Illenium and Manic Focus. So check dates for that. Again, killparis.com, Facebook, Kill Paris, all that stuff. Twitter, Kill Paris. Thanks to everybody who's been listening and, you know, sending in letters and all that stuff. Really appreciate that. Again, we're on YouTube, iTunes. If you go to iTunes, if you're listening to this on iTunes, please like rate and give me a review thing or a comment thing. I don't know. It would just help me. And granted, the good thing about this podcast, like the name Inspiration Station, there's like one other podcast that's sort of named that, but they haven't been doing episodes. So, like if you guys start rating this and everything, we could maybe get this up on the charts. I don't know. We'll see. That's not really my goal. I just want this to get to as many people as possible if it's going to help them, you know? So yeah, thanks again, guys, for listening. Appreciate it. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.